Ask him how come Jesus is black.
And don't you black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe, and Jesus was not a white man like.
That's part of one of the reasons why I've been ostracized by so many people in my life, because I've known that for years. I mean, first you have to look at where Jesus came from. It's all dark skin tone people over there anyway, pretty much. Okay? I've known for years, since I can remember, honestly, that Jesus was not a Caucasian. That Jesus was a darker skin-toned person. I've known that for years. And I've never had a problem understanding and believing that. Okay? It's funny, though. There's been people like me out there for years saying that very thing. And they're discredited, and they're ostracized, and they want to, people like, oh no, we got to shut that one up. But the minute a world leader steps on the stage and says it, oh my God, it's front page news. I don't care. I'm glad it's getting put out there because it's the truth. And I've known it since as long as I can remember. I've just known that. You know, and I mean, we're all pretty much just a cesspool of races anymore anyway. But I'm glad to know that other people are finally waking up to that truth. Thank you, Jesus. Keep smiling, everyone.
Yes, the Matrix has you, Neo.
Welcome, family, to another edition of Stranger Thinking Media, where we bring you the gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, to address the problems of the modern world. So, stay tuned. We have an awesome show for you today.
Thank you, Rachel, for that introduction. And today, we're going to get into this, what most people think of as a new revelation, but it's actually pretty old. The Russian icons. Does race matter? Topics covered: biblical icons, Mary and Jesus, and the Last Supper. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Again, biblical icons. Let's have a look. Songs of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 6. Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept. Jeremiah 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Biblical icons, Mary and Jesus. Jeremiah 8, verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. I am black. Astonishment hath taken hold on me, Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 8. Their visage is blacker than coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Now, I am going to comment on this little statement here. I'm pretty much just rolling through this, but what a lot of people don't know is an actual medical condition that when melanated people begin to starve, their color changes. They become like 2 shades darker in starvation, of which the the Jews, were going through as they were conquered by the Babylonians, King Nebuchadnezzar. They were being marched to Babylon, and they weren't being marched. They weren't being marched with a banquet in tow. They were starving, and so their visage was getting darker. They were becoming blacker. That's a medical condition. Don't know if you knew that, but that is true. Job chapter 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. My harp also is turned to mourning, and my organ into the voice of them that weep. Biblical icons. The Last Supper. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was as white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So Daniel's vision of the Ancient of Days, which would be Yahweh the Father, he has woolly hair. So let that sink in. Daniel chapter 10 and verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body was also like the beryl. The beryl is the color of a beryl when it's taken out of the ground is brownish with a red hue to it. And his face has the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Now let's talk about this word brass. Most of the Bible is written during the Bronze Age. This translation as brass is King James, right? So this is being transliterated in around the 1600s. But was this the term used by the Hebrews? No, they were in the Bronze Age. This term brass is erroneous. It should be bronze. Brass is compared to bronze, brass was fairly new invention, hadn't propagated that far. But by the time King James transliterated it, brass was everywhere. You had brass trumpets, brass ornaments. But at the time this was written, they were referring to bronze, and both are basically cuprous alloys. Brass being more brittle, bronze being used for weapons of war. And it's just what additives are you adding to the to the copper that differentiates between bronze and brass. But the word here, transliterated as brass, should be bronze. And we all know what bronze looks like, right? So he's being described as having the body of like the beryl, a brownish red, or reddish brown, I should say. And his arms and his feet like into color to polished bronze. I think you're picking up what I'm putting down here. But we'll continue and see if this doesn't, catch hold. So Revelation chapter 1. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like the flame of fire, and his feet were like unto fine bronze, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Well, that's the end of this session. It's a brief one. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for continually supporting my content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they'd find it interesting as well. And I'm very excited to continue this journey with you. Shout out to the channel members. We keep growing, and I appreciate it very much. And may everybody have a blessed and beautiful day who's in the body of Messiah, Yahusha HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ of Nazareth. And I'll see you on the next video. Shalom.